I want to welcome everybody this afternoon to the 23rd Annual Healthcare Internet Conference. My name is Mike Schneider. I'm a principal at Greystone, and on behalf of Kathy Divis and the rest of the Greystone team, we want to welcome everybody to the 23rd conference. It's kind of mind-blowing to think about 23 years, because I guess that means we started when we were in kindergarten. And actually, I know that it didn't, because I have these flashbacks to earlier conferences. And it's funny because we used to get excited when we would have, hopefully we'll have 200 attendees at the Healthcare Internet Conference. And this year we're going to be really close to somewhere in between 900 and 1,000 folks that are here. So I think that means two things. One is that the conference has been successful, and two, that this sector of our industry has just continued to grow and gain relevance within our organizations. So I think it's a testament to the fact that obviously, digital healthcare marketing has become a really important part of what hospitals and healthcare systems do. And I think over the course of the next couple of days, what you're going to have an opportunity to see is the wide array of different things that different organizations are doing, and how our whole industry is kind of evolving in a lot of different ways. So I'm going to just leave it there, because we're going to talk a lot about the programming over the next couple of days and spend a little time talking about each of the sessions. But I hope you've got your planner out. I hope you had some time to take a look at the sessions that are coming up, and I hope you've got kind of a good roadmap for the next couple of days. So I do want to say thank you to all of our sponsors and exhibitors. Those are the folks that really help pay for all of this and make it happen. They're also the people who give us the fantastic water bottles like Glasses, or the Modea name badges that we've got. And I'm going to mention a lot of sponsors as we go through the conference, but just to, you'll notice that just about everything that you have, everything from the dinners and the coffees and the breakfasts and all that kind of stuff, is sponsored by somebody. So take a few minutes when you can, when you're in the exhibit hall, and stop by and say thank you to some of our sponsors. They're very generous and we really appreciate it. And let's just go ahead and give them a quick round of applause. And we'll definitely have a shout out to some of them as we go along. And the first sponsor that I'm going to shout out to is Yext, because as a part of our this intro and some of the information that you're going to get for the Healthcare Internet Conference this year, our Wi-Fi hotspot is sponsored by Yext. So if you haven't connected to it yet on your phone or other devices, the network name is Omni Meeting. So if you look for Omni Meeting, you'll find that. And then it's not case sensitive, but the password is Yext Answers, all one word, so that's Y-E-X-T Answers. And our hashtag for the conference this year is HCIC19. So if you're on Twitter or Instagram or wherever it is that you're talking about the conference, if you can drop in the hashtag, that's great, and then we can connect all of the conversations together. One of the most valuable things that you'll have at your disposal over the next couple of days, because we have 8 tracks, we have multiple keynote speakers, we have multiple speakers within each track. One of the tracks is a sprint session. So the sprint sessions are actually back-to-back 30-minute sessions. When you sit in on a sprint session, you actually get 2 presentations for the price of one, so to speak. So my point is, there's a lot going on. And if you've got the app, you can kind of navigate some of that. So if you go to the Apple App Store or the Google Play Store and look for HCIC19, you'll see it eventually populate on the list. And then look for the 23rd Annual Greystone Healthcare Internet Conference within the app, and that's where you'll find it. And literally the app has a ton of things that you can do. There's an activity feed. Some of you I know are already using it, but if you haven't seen it, people are posting pictures. It's got the schedule. It's got the attendee list, and I know a lot of folks have asked me about that. Hey, can I get a copy of the attendee list? Hey, it's on the app. So good news, you can find your colleagues, you can look for folks from different organizations and that kind of thing by searching that list. It's got a list of exhibitors and sponsors and so forth. Their presentations are there, so you can go into a session and you can actually pull up the presentations from the app. It also has information maps, information about the Wi-Fi access and so forth. And then another thing that's on that app is surveys. And so one of the things I always talk about is how important the survey feedback is. This is our 23rd annual, and we build the program based on your feedback every year. So when you sit in a session, if it's great, tell us about it. If it's not great, tell us about it. We want to know about everything from the rooms to the food to anything that you can think of. That's feedback that we take, and then we'll use that for the 24th annual conference. So take some time to do that. The other thing that's great is that with the session evaluations, every time you do an evaluation, you kind of enter your name in a hat for a giveaway. And this year, each day we're going to pick a winner, and the winner gets a $100 Amazon gift card. So it's good to participate. You might actually win a prize. And yesterday we had a winner. We had a session called Let's Talk that was sponsored by the folks at Health Grades and also sponsored by Greystone. And so through those evaluations, the winner was Michael Jury, and he's from the Hospital for Special Surgery, and you can go to the registration desk and we'll get you connected with that gift card. But we've already had one $100 winner, so make sure you fill out your session your session reviews. Just a little logistics. One of the things, so again, 23 years, we've been in a lot of different hotels and venues, and sometimes we go to a hotel and your room is about a mile away from the conference center, and it's a long walk. One of the great things about this hotel is everything is kind of compactly together, so I love that so far because it makes it easy to get from one place to another. On the lobby level, you're going to find most of the concurrent sessions and the pre-con workshops that we had this morning. So on the lobby level, we've kind of literally got every room that's on this level. And then in the lower level, that's where you're going to find the exhibit hall and the general sessions and the concurrent and a few additional concurrent sessions. So there's a level below this if you haven't been down there yet. And on that level is where we're going to have our exhibit hall, which we'll talk about that in just a second. But tonight we'll have ours in the exhibit hall, and it's also where we're going to have the general session, and that's where we're at right now, in case you don't know where you're at yet. Just a quick housekeeping thing on our schedule today. So, we start off now, and then we've got a pretty busy day the rest of today. After the presentation this morning, the introduction, and then some awards, we're going to jump into our first keynote session, which is how reputations are made and protected in healthcare. And that's sponsored by Reputation.com, and it also happens to be who will be our speaker up here, and we'll talk about that in a second, but that's until 3 o'clock. Then immediately following that presentation, we'll have a break for about 15 minutes to grab coffee or a soft drink or something like that. And then we've got back-to-back concurrent sessions. So from 3:15 to 5:30, you'll have the opportunity to really dive into those sessions. There's a little break in between that too. One thing, if you haven't been to HCIC before, you're going to find out very quickly that food and drink are really important here. And so we're going to keep you hydrated, we're going to keep you filled up with snacks, and you'll probably run into snacks and food just about everywhere you go. And then this evening, speaking of snacks and food, we have the opening reception in the exhibit hall. So that's 5:30 to 7:15. Tonight's opening session in the exhibit hall is sponsored by Crossix. So please take a few minutes to thank them because it's really going to be fantastic. It's free drinks, it's all the food you can eat. So we hope you'll enjoy it and stop by and visit all the folks in the reception hall. We do have multiple exhibit hall moments. So tonight we'll have the opening reception at 5:30. You'll also have an opportunity to meet exhibitors and sponsors tomorrow at 9:15, again at 2:45, and then there's another reception tomorrow night, and then we kind of wrap up the exhibit hall on Wednesday morning. So again, please take that opportunity to visit with folks. You actually get an exhibitor passport, and this is, again, another amazing thing about HCIC is that there are tons of opportunities to walk away with swag. All the exhibitors are probably giving away some sort of swag, everything from pins and t-shirts and jump drives and that kind of stuff. But you can also win some pretty amazing prizes. So what you have to do is you have to go and visit the exhibitors and fill out your passport and get it signed by at least 25 participating exhibitors to be eligible. And then that passport has to be signed, all signed, filled out, and turned into the registration desk by 10:30 on Wednesday. And then we'll announce the prizes. So take some time to do that and visit the exhibitors. One other thing I was going to say before I jump into that next slide, it's going to be exhausting. The next couple of days we've got so much content and you've got so many exhibitors and sponsors to see that you're probably going to need a massage at some point in time. And I don't know if you noticed this, but at the top of the escalator we actually have a massage station that's sponsored by the folks at Lion Share. So, form a line and there'll be an opportunity to get a nice massage in between sessions if you need it. In addition to HCIC, Greystone does a lot of different things, but I would say our mission, kind of our mantra, is all about networking and sharing information. I mean, one of the things that you probably find in your hospital or healthcare system is when you're sitting at your desk and you're solving a problem, you've got yourself and whatever team you've got in front of you to help solve that problem. and that's kind of where it ends sometimes. I mean, it's just you and your team. But with conferences like HCIC and with other types of things like forums and that kind of thing, you can connect with other folks around the country, learn what other people are doing, understand data about what other folks have done to be successful. And one thing that we do to kind of create that connection is every year we do, for the last 5 years, we've done an annual digital marketing survey. And that's an audit of what activity is happening in hospitals and healthcare systems related to digital marketing. So it's everything from online digital marketing techniques that are used. We talk about CMS and CRM, who's using which systems and how good they feel about those, and the importance and effectiveness of different digital marketing efforts. So take some time and fill out this survey, the digital marketing survey, and you'll find it on the Greystone website. And we do this together with the folks at Klein & Partners. They're a market research firm. They've been in market research in healthcare as long as Greystone's been in digital marketing and healthcare. And what we'll do is we'll share the results with you. So at the end of the survey, you'll get a chance to see what other folks are doing percentage-wise, what tools they're using, and what's been effective by benefit of this survey. So take a few minutes to fill that out. If you do, you get a $10 Amazon gift card for filling it out. And it just needs to be completed by the end of this week if you can. And that'll allow us to get all the data in. The survey is actually already out there, and some folks have already filled it in. We've got about 200 responses so far. So hopefully through word of mouth in this conference, we'll be able to get some more data in there, and then we'll share the results with all of you. And we'll talk about this more as the conference goes on, but next year, it's hard to believe we're already talking about the 24th annual, right? Because we haven't even started the 23rd. But we're going to be in LA. So we'll be at LA Live next year. Again, I'm going to talk a little bit more about some of the deadlines for speaking and sponsorships and exhibitors and that kind of stuff as we go along. But we hope you'll start making plans for that. It's going to be November 2nd through the 4th next year. If you've got some case studies, things that you're working on this year, and you might want to be a speaker, it's a good time to start thinking about that now. So we hope you'll enjoy the sessions today. We really appreciate you all being here. Again, we love your feedback, so please give us feedback through the app, or if you see any of us in the hallway, give us feedback. We like to know ways that we can always make the conference more better for you for next year and more expansive in terms of topics and those kinds of things. Every year, one of the things we do at this conference is that we honor the folks in this industry, and we do that in a lot of different ways. So we really have 3 awards programs that happen throughout the course of the conference. Tomorrow morning at 7:30, we are going to honor folks who have been had a major impact in our industry in the past, and that's called the Healthcare Internet Hall of Fame. And so if you join us tomorrow at 7:30, you'll hear a little bit about past inductees, and you'll also learn about the inductees for this year. And then on Wednesday, we have a luncheon at 12:30, and that's kind of our closing session for the conference, and that's the eHealthcare Leadership Awards. And that's when we'll honor folks that are currently doing something that has been outstanding in the past year. A lot of you in the room are probably entered into that, and so I think that'll be a great program, and you'll hear about the winners on Wednesday. And then today we're going to talk about the John Eudes Vision and Excellence Awards. So before we get started with our keynote speaker, I'm going to talk a little bit about this, and then I'm going to introduce some other folks who are going to come up and talk about it as well. And you know, one of the things that's interesting is as time goes on, there are fewer and fewer folks in the room who actually knew who John was. So I'll give you just kind of a quick piece of background information on John Eudes. He was actually one of the founders of Greystone. And John was a really dynamic guy. I mean, if you ever met John, you would know that he's not your ordinary person, very charismatic, really cared about our industry. He really loved the people in the industry, and he also loved the excitement about how marketing was changing and growing. And so it was, him and several other folks kind of got together and said, we can see this being a really important part of healthcare marketing moving forward. And in 1996, we had the first conference at Bally's, which is hard to believe, and there were about 30 or 40 people that were there. And that was the Healthcare Marketing Internet Conference in 1996. And through his innovation, not only did John foster the beginning of the Healthcare Internet Conference, but John also did a lot to kind of lead the industry in terms of education and growth. He was a mentor to a lot of folks. He did a lot of early consulting work with organizations where there were CEOs who really believed that the internet would never be something important for healthcare. and he kind of helped them understand that it was going to not only be important for healthcare, but really probably change the way that we all live. And so John was innovative in that way. And John passed away in 2011, but we still honor him today through this award by looking for other folks in the industry who've kind of helped us move forward, who've been good mentors to other folks. And so we've taken some of those qualities of John and embodied those into this award and tried to identify folks who are worthy recipients. And typically those are folks who care more than others thought was wise. They're folks who've risked more than others thought was safe. They're folks that have dreamt more than others thought was practical. And they're folks who have expected more than others thought was possible. So today we have an honoree, and to present that honoree, the first person I'm going to present and ask her to come to the stage is John Eudes, John's wife.
Thank you, Mike. Well, it's hard to believe it's the 23rd, as Mike said, and I'd like to thank the Greystone family, our wonderful sponsors and exhibitors, and especially all of you for supporting the conference. I remember those days when we were planning the first one around the dining room table, so it's just hard to believe as I look out. And a special thank you for carrying John's vision and spirit forward. He would be totally in awe. Today, the 2019 John Eudes Vision and Excellence Award is presented posthumously to Terry McNaughton. We were heartbroken with the loss of Terry earlier this year after a courageous battle with cancer. But we're here today to recognize and celebrate her achievements in the healthcare industry, which are many. Terry's mission was to serve by sharing her vision and knowledge. Those that worked with her all speak of her commitment, her professionalism, and her ability to bring fresh ideas to the table. Her innovative ideas and creative solutions have built a strong foundation of digital marketing and communication excellence across our industry. Terry had an exemplary 30-year career involved in education, public relations, and healthcare marketing and communications. She began her career in the consumer products industry, eventually leading global communications and public relations for Tropicana. Following a professorship and owning her own PR firm, she served as vice president for 3 major regional health systems, General Health System and Ochsner Health System in Louisiana, and Bon Secours Health System across the East Coast. During this time, she was awarded over 100 regional and national honors for marketing and communication achievements, including a Lifetime Achievement Award by the American Hospital Association's Society for Healthcare Strategy and Market Development. Terry also served on 16 professional industry organizations in various leadership roles. Terry was a woman ahead of her time, a visionary leader. She was intuitive, strategic, strong-willed, spirited, caring, and innovative, always thinking outside of the box. Her leadership created bold innovation in the workplace. She found ways to pilot programs, develop co-branding with joint ventures, and build sophisticated platforms in-house before the software even existed on the market. She always worked around the clock on some of our industry's most difficult crises, like the Hurricane Katrina, chemical plant explosions, and hospital shootings. Her accolades are too many to count, but top of mind is she never took credit for a single contribution, but was always quick to recognize and appreciate the good work of her teams and surrounding colleagues with grace and humility. We will always remember and value Terry's contributions to the healthcare industry. She mentored so many of you and various hospital marketeers across the country. She was a change agent with enormous passion and a constant source of inspiration and motivation. Please join me in honoring this year's recipient of the John Eudes Vision and Excellence Award, Terry McNaughton. Accepting the award is her wonderful husband, Andy.
I've spent the last 11 months mourning my Terry. In my eulogy, I stated that she was the sun that warmed my soul, and if you only knew that. But before I tell you a little bit about Terry, I want to say thank you to so many people, to Kathy, Farah, Mark, Greg, and the whole Greystone team. You've honored the love of my life. You've allowed her memory to carry on, and you've recognized the work, which was a large part and defining role for her. Somehow, thank you sounds a little bit hollow, but thank you. It means the world to me and to my family. To Joanne and the Eudes family, your sponsorship of this award has permitted me to see Terry being honored. It's humbling and so very, very emotional. Without your generosity, we could not recognize Terry's legacy. Please know that Terry's work was a passion. It was one of three things that defined her: her family, her work, and her spirit. She knew that she made a difference in healthcare by impacting the lives of communities, and this really drove her. So thank you. Thank you for all your generosity. Terry had drive. She truly loved what she did. For those of you that remember Mary Tyler Moore, she had spunk. But it was really not work to her. For those of you that don't know Terry, please take the time and ask those who did know her about the impact that she had on your profession. While she tried to explain it to me, this whole CRM data-centric approach that she pioneered, I was too busy being odd, and I really didn't fully understand it. But she did create it. She passed it on to you, the leaders in healthcare marketing. Joanne summarized some of Terry's awards and accolades and achievements. There's another, though, that I wanted to make mention of for you all. She had a tremendous amount of success getting a seat at the C-suite. She spent a lot of her time selling her ideas throughout the IDNs she worked for. Proving the return on her ideas was a large part of her success. Terry had a wonderful sense of humor, and we loved to laugh. We met actually over at Match.com and knew when we got married, our time together was not unlimited. We lived passionately, traveling all over and sharing experiences with kids and families. We had no regrets, and we never looked back or said, what if? Included in that was her career, whether mentoring up-and-coming rising stars, breaking new ground in CRM, participating in conferences, or joining boards, she was all in. I was very, very lucky to find Terry later in life. Hearing from so many of you after she passed makes me realize just how fortunate your industry is to have had Terry as well. She graced this earth and left a legacy. My entire family thanks you for recognizing this, honoring her, and agreeing it was a career well lived. Thank you from all of us.
All right. Thank you, Andy and Joanne, and I can't imagine anyone more deserving of the award this year. That was really wonderful. All right, so next we're going to launch right into our programming for the Healthcare Internet Conference. Our first session today